Hello, everybody. Welcome back live and on the air. We've got the head coach of the Boyd Buchanan Buccaneers. He's in year 43. He's got 489 wins. He is 3 and 0. We bring live and on the air the head coach of the Boyd Buchanan Buccaneers, head coach Gary Rankin. How you doing tonight, Coach?
Doing great, thank you.
Well, well, you're 3 and 0, so that's enough said. Got into a good battle with Christian Academy of Knoxville, was able to come away with a winner, 41-21. Looks like he was able to get some guys in. Talk a little bit about where you are.
We were. I mean, it was a pretty good battle early, and we got a couple of scores and pulled away from them a little bit, and they got a couple of scores late, but we were able to play some kids. And anytime you go on the road and, a region game, and you're happy to come away with it. So we played pretty clean for the most part. We had some areas that, we're worried about that showed up a little bit that we're trying to soar up a little bit. But, bottom line, you try to win the games, and we're 3 and 0, so we're pretty pleased with that.
Did you feel like you traveled well? I mean, this group is a young group, and but you still got new kids coming in. I mean, you graduate some, and the new come in. But how'd you feel like you traveled, Coach?
Traveled well. Everything. The trip was good. I thought the kids handled it pretty good. You'd like to get to the point, and we're not there yet, but I think we're approaching there. Really doesn't matter where you play. If you're a good football team, you're going to play well on the road. You're going to play well at home. You're going to play well in the backyard. It doesn't matter. So hopefully we'll get to that point. I think we're working towards that. But, we've won some big games on the road the last year or two, so that's been good.
Where do you feel like your biggest runway is, where you really need to grow or you can grow? Is it receivers have some potential, tailback, quarterback executing? Where do you feel like you've got some runway that those guys can get a lot better?
Well, we're still missing some defensive linemen. We're still trying to find out. We made a couple of moves this week. So personnel-wise, in a couple of places on defense, we're still not sure. We're experimenting a little bit. And, we made some changes over there this week to hope to shore up a little bit of what we considered a weakness, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, and like you said, you make some changes. So generally, I mean, if you see a kid continually to progress, you're going to continue to give that kid rope as long as he's headed in the right direction. He may not start, but he's going to start getting some reps on the field. So he needs to stay active and try to impress the coaching staff and do what you guys say.
Right, and you've got to be building depth, and I'm sure all coaches are mindful of that. I mean, you're going to have some kids get banged up. You're going to have some kids miss some games. Our starting linebacker this week came down with COVID, so we're not going to be able to play him this week. So you always got to have somebody ready, and we're always working to build some depth and making sure we got kids ready.
And when it gets down to it, regardless, you talked about winning the game. When you get in certain situations, if you find something or a weakness, Coach, and I was talking with the coach and he was telling me, their end was just really weak, and I knew my offensive end and tackle were real mean, so we just pounded on him. We just drove the ball down their throat all night. I mean, when you find that weakness like that, you're going to switch it up, but you're going to take advantage of it. And if you find a rhythm, you say that's where we're going all night.
I mean, no doubt, and I think you're always, when you're evaluating the teams that you're playing, you're always trying to find maybe that spot that maybe not as good as some other areas. So, I know Carlton Flatt at the coach at Brentwood Academy for so many years. He told me one time, and I'd never heard this, but he always tried. The first thing he did was try to find out the weakest corner. Of course, he was a guy that threw the ball quite a bit back then, and he said that most high schools don't have two great corners, and that's probably true today. So I think most coaches are looking, for that weak spot maybe, and sometimes you can find them. Sometimes kids, sometimes they don't glare out at you as much, but that's just part of your preparation and part of your getting ready to play other teams.
I love the wisdom. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I love talking to you. Give us a little more when when you're in a situation like you guys are going in on Friday night, and you've coached many of these games. And I was talking to Philip a while ago about 2004. We had the game. I don't know who you played the night that the big hurricane, and Philip moved his, and then you may have played on Friday night, and it was clean, but. Here in Middle Tennessee, and you're gonna be in one possible, not very much, but the rain being constant and not letting up, and knowing from the time you guys get on the field to the time you guys getting off, telling them the wind could possibly be blowing. We may have to stick to a
Right.
run. Be one dimensional tonight, guys. But how important? What do you do, Coach? You've done this a lot.
Well, I'm gonna run the football, and that's part of my basic philosophy. And if you throw it enough, you're gonna run into this kind of weather situations. And I think most people don't understand. You can throw it in the rain, but it's really, really hard to throw it in the wind. The wind can affect you a lot more than the rain. So, it's certainly going to be sloppy this weekend, and that's just part of our game. You end up playing. I tell our kids all the time, we're going to practice in 98-degree weather, and hopefully, if we do what we're supposed to, we're going to practice in 28-degree weather before the season's over. So, you got to be mentally tough. You can't let those things affect you. And that's one thing I'm proud of at the teams at Alcoa and Riverdale. There wasn't we weren't ever affected by the weather or the situation. So, you can't use that as an excuse. You're not going to get up Saturday morning and say, "Oh, it rained, boy, it got beat." Who cares? They're going to tee the ball up at 7:00 and they're going to kick it off, and it really doesn't matter as long as it's not lightning, and somebody will come out victorious and win the game.
Well, and FCA. I mean, they're sitting at 1-2. Franklin Christian Academy. They're sitting at 1-2, but you've seen them on film, and they've got some talent, don't they, Coach?
We do have some talent, and Tim Johnson does a great job. I've known Tim for a long, long time, and he's a great coach, great person. He'll have that program will be heard of. You can mark it down within the years to come. They're a relatively new program. They've been playing some 8-man football until a year or two ago. So they've got a huge roster. They got about 50 kids out, and that's good for that size school. And as long as they've been in existence, so I think it's a school that you'll hear from in the future. And I promise you, Tim does a great job, and he'll have those guys. He'll have them ready to play this week, and they'll be a team and a program you'll have to deal with in the future.
Finally, Coach, before we let you go, I'd love for you to give a shout out to the Boyd Buchanan Buccaneers and the Buccaneer fans that follow you and are sticking with you. You got a lot of support down there at Boyd, and it's a great place to coach. And I'm sure they were there at Christian Academy in Knoxville, and they'll be there Friday night against Franklin Christian Academy.
They were. We've had great crowds, and like I say, there's been a buzz around our program for the last year or so, and we have great support from our school, from our administration, from our headmaster, all the teachers. So it's a pretty cool place to coach right now, and a lot of support from our Boyd community, and that's a pretty fun thing.
Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Stay healthy and come out a big winner and stay 4-0.
Thank you, Stuart. Appreciate it, brother.
See you, bye.